At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people and to the still larger cause of humanity.
We might be politically independent, but I think our minds are far from decolonized. And particularly this finds its manifestation in scholarship, in historiography, where we've very, very faithfully been adherents of that infamous Macaulay's Minute of 1835, that the whole role of education is to create a class of people who are interpreters, who are only in color and blood Indian, but in our morals, opinions, tastes and intellect, we are English. And this manifests, it's probably most germane in the way history is written in India. That a young Indian will have with the history of her country is the textbooks. And what does she see there? The story of her country is almost shown in third person as though it belongs to some other nation. The other thing is the historiography of India is extremely Delhi-centric. The Vijayanagar Empire or the Chola Empire, the Rashtrakutas, Satavahanas, Pallavas, the Travancore rulers, the Mysore Wadiyars, the Ahoms of Northeast, the Nagas, Tripuris, the rulers of Manipur don't find mention as much as some obscure dynasties which are bigoted, Lodhis and Khiljis find incommensurate mention in books. You know, the story of India is a story of invaders. So a young person, again, who reads the story of India, it's a long litany of invasions, starting from that myth of the Aryan invasion theory, to a series of battles that we have lost. We're a nation of losers, it seems to most people, that the very fact that we are around as a civilization shows there must have been some battles we also won, and that resistance that was put, which is curiously underplayed or subjugated in our history books. Very simplistic, linear, monochromatic narrative, a Richard Attenborough film of how India won her freedom. I think there are multiple stories, multiple narratives, multiple heroes and heroines, and the time has come that we kind of revisit those other voices which are dying to be, I think, told. Refusal to acknowledge the darker elements, the darker aspects of Indian history, particularly medieval India with Islamic invasions, trying to brush that under the carpet. American historian Will Durant had called the Islamic invasion of India as the bloodiest chapter of human history. But does that find a mention in our books in the way it should? We labor under this false assumption that talking about the truth will upset contemporary social issues. But dare I say that the edifice of national unity or social cohesion cannot stand on the shaky and false foundations of whitewashed history. So face the truth in the eye. History worldwide offers these spaces to heal. I think we've not done that. And that is one reason these battles keep happening. These are a manifestation of that same idea that somehow someone is going to feel bad if you speak the truth. And so we need to push all the muck under the carpet and put deodorant. At some point, the stink will show up. 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 Some point, each blind man touches one part of the elephant and says the elephant looks like the trunk, the tail, the body and so on. They're all right and they're all wrong as well. History is that each person looks at one aspect based on either biases or the evidences that are available to them and reconstructs the sum of all the parts. So do not deny any part in the false miasma of contemporary politics, contemporary social cohesion and so on. And to tell the truth as it is, we can let people read what is the truth.
I used to ask them that if our country is so bad as your teachers tell you, then tell me, how is it that we are the only civilization which has survived for 5,000 years? If you are interested in the answers, well, Somnath mein Hamla was a watershed in Hindu psyche. And my mother used to say, गजनी ने सोमनाथ में हमला करके हिंदुओं पे बड़ा एहसान किया. She said yes. उस दिन से the Hindus developed their resistance to Islam. When in the Puranas particularly, we take the specific out of the events, we take the particulars out of the event, and we generalize it in time and space. We distance it in time and space, because what remains then is the lesson for us. What might happen, what may happen, and that is important. Ours is not a scriptural civilization. Our sources of history are very different. Our sources are oral. Our sources are, you see, kimbdantiyan. Our sources are race memory, which people store in the mind. Our sources are place names. Our sources are graves and samadhis and the ruins and monuments. And our sources my story is mystery, because it is my story and it is dismissed. But our sources are these. And you have to trace it, you have to build it. Different forms, different modes, different languages, different thinkers, and there is no break. There is no break. We have a continuous textual tradition. We are an oral people, but we have a continuous textual tradition. I think our story, civilization story, is a story of Gyan, knowledge, a story of ideas, and the history of ideas for India has not been written.
There is a huge debate going on between Hinduism and Hindutva, and frankly, one is also being seen as sort of a bad word, where it's all about rituals, all about pressurizing a certain vote bank. Is there how do you differentiate between the two?
Well, Sanatana Dharma has been reincarnated many times. We believe in the rebirth theory. So the Dharma has come at many times, many ages, in new forms. So the modern version was called Hinduism, and now in the last 2-3 generations, the Hindutva is another version. So I think this is a more recent reincarnation of Hinduism. But Hinduism is an old faith, even older is the Sanatana Dharma. So this version of Hinduism has a very strong political dimension to it and a social dimension to it. You see, until the Dharma was challenged by outside religions for a long, long time, it was very relaxed. It was an open system. People would come, migrate, settle down. Some of the earliest Jewish communities, Syrian Christians, they all came and they lived here very happily. They were welcome. Only recently, in the last few centuries, the foreign-born religions became very assertive, started becoming very aggressive, started, in fact, attacking the Dharma. So the Dharma has to respond. So there's many kinds of interventions in India to exploit caste divides, North-South Aryan-Dravidian divides, gender divides. So there's a whole ecosystem in India of activism. And a lot of Indians have sold out into that. Actually, they're working for Western or foreign nexuses and reporting to them, being trained by them. But some of the foreign-based religions are actually getting their orders and directions and pointing at a foreign nexus for ideas, ideologies, and legitimacy. And so they're serving as either you could call them a consulate of a foreign country, or you could consider them as a branch office of a foreign multinational. It is one thing to say that somebody is a Christian. It's another thing to say that he reports to the Vatican for authority, for funding, for direction, for appointment of leaders. So when foreign religion is controlling how it is being practiced in India, it's almost like an MNC's branch office. And I see a worldwide campaign to discourage, to disparage us, to undermine us, which is an organized conspiracy. I've written a lot of books on that. So I think we need a political response also, which maybe was not required in earlier centuries. But today we need it. So I think the Hindutva is a response to threats which are genuine threats, which have come from overseas. Exaggeration is also a problem, and that's because the people are lazy to have checked their facts. They are not scientific enough to have really done rigorous research, and a very bombastic, arrogant, egotistical kind of a just chauvinistic over display of Hinduism is counterproductive. We lose credibility when we do that. But my feeling is that the true Sanatana Dharma welcomes diversity, and if somebody has the Quran Dharma, that is also possible as a dharma. And if somebody has a Bible dharma, that is also possible as a dharma. And if somebody has Jesus as an Ishta Devta, that's also fine. But the real test is, do you subscribe to mutual respect for others? If somebody from another faith is willing to respect my practice, I'm willing to respect their practice, there will be harmony.